Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. This platform is for common sense people looking for up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information without the hot garbage corporate media bias. The power of one can lead to the power of many. You never know what small act that you may say or do that may literally change the lives of millions tomorrow. And don't you ever think that you can't make a difference, because you can. Good morning, my fellow Michiganders. Good morning, my fellow Americans. Welcome to the Grassroots Army Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Garrett Soldano, and I have a great show for all of you here today. A lot going on. Like I said before, the media cycle is vicious. There is so much going on, especially with Biden stepping down. We're going to analyze a phone call that was made to Kamala Harris. I'm sure most of you have seen it. If you haven't, you should watch it, because there is a gentleman on TikTok who's going viral right now. I'm going to show his clip of him using that clip to go into AI detection software. And he has two clips, one from a Biden commercial and the other one from the phone call he did with Kamala Harris. And you're going to be surprised on the results of it. Also, we're going to talk about what happened up in the UP in the city of Hancock with a gentleman who ran over a Trump supporter who was putting out his Trump sign. He ran over him with his quad. And last time I checked, the gentleman who he ran over was not, he's in the hospital, which is, again, this is where our country is right now. People, with political violence. And it's interesting that the mainstream media, you don't hear a lot. If the tables would have been turned, if a Republican would have ran over a Democrat with their four-wheeler while they were putting out their Kamala Harris sign, it would be everywhere 24/7 on how radical, how extreme that we are. Well, all we hear is crickets from the mainstream media, and it's nothing new. We expect this garbage to happen with them. But you know me, I'm going to talk about it because I think it's very important to continue to put out what these radical leftists are doing right now. I mean, you're running over an 80-year-old guy who's putting out a Trump sign. What kind of person are you? Just an old guy supporting his candidate, and you run him over and you put him in the hospital, and he remains in critical condition. So let's get into that story right now. Let me bring it up here so you guys can see exactly what it's saying. Oh, wrong one. 1 second. We'll have it here for you in a sec. Here's the story. Okay. So on Sunday, July 21st, the Hancock Police Department responded to 3 different incidents that appeared to be politically motivated. 2 of the incidents involved vehicles that were intentionally vandalized. At approximately 5:45 p.m., the same subject driving a four-wheeler, quad, allegedly with intention to do harm, drove into the resident's yard, running over an 80-year-old man who was posting a political sign in his yard. The victim was transported to the hospital with serious injuries and remains in critical condition. It is believed that person driving the ATV is involved in all 3 incidents. Be aware, the subject appeared to target both Trump and law enforcement supporters. The Hancock Police Department is looking for any help from the community in identifying the subject. Okay? So one of my supporters sent me this, and so I posted it everywhere. I mean, I was doing TikToks, I was doing Instagram, I was doing Reels. I posted the actual post. I shared it from the police department because when this stuff kind of happens, especially to our people here in the state of Michigan, I'm going to make a big deal out of it. Even though most of the corporate media still remains silent on it, I'm going to activate Michigan's greatest asset, America's greatest asset, we the people, to get things done. And so that is exactly what happened. The suspect, the next post was the suspect actually called in and admitted. So update of the situation. The Hancock Police Department would like to thank the community, local police agencies, and the media for their assistance. The driver of the ATV was identified last evening. This is an ongoing investigation. So that's what they released, that, hey, the suspect has been basically caught. And this just dropped. Another supporter stated this with the KewanahReport.com. Hancock police have identified the individual suspect of property damage I'll post this up here in a second. In collaboration with the Houghton Sheriff's Office, the Hancock Police Department executed a warrant, and the individual stated, the suspect, that they wanted to confess to a crime involving the ATV driver within the last 24 hours. Going further, stating, hey, send someone to pick me up. That's what the suspect said. When they arrived on the scene, they discovered a 22-year-old male suspect deceased of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Okay, so that's where it's at. The guy killed himself, which I don't know this gentleman. I do know this. The left has been putting out a narrative on President Trump and Republicans for years now, saying that we're a threat to democracy, even though we're a republic, that we're dangerous, that we're radical, that President Trump is a fascist and he's Hitler and all of this. And so they really put a target in the bullseye on us Republicans and conservatives. And that's what happens is when you're pushing out that kind of narrative 24/7, people are going to get excited and energized about that. And when they see somebody, even though it's an 80-year-old man putting out a Trump sign, they're going to be like, I need to do something. This guy's a danger. And they react instead of think, and they do something stupid. All right. Again, I don't know what this guy's mindset was, in intent. I don't know what it was. Obviously, he had second thoughts because he turned himself in and then he killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot. So again, I just feel sorry for all who's involved, and let's put our prayers and support behind the gentleman who was run over by this crazy person. And that's why the Copper County Republican Party put out this statement. I want to give them some time here. Attention all residents within Houghton County. We are meeting at the Houghton County Bridge this Saturday, 11 to 12, to show support for our fellow patriot that was needlessly attacked for having Trump signs in his yard. We will not stand for political violence here in Houghton County. We will rally together as a family to show the world that we will never be intimidated for our unyielding support for President Donald J. Trump. Please show up with your Trump gear and American flag so we can peacefully protest against this political violence. God bless, and we hope to see you this Saturday. So, folks, you guys are in the area. Holy cow, get out there. Let's rally together. Let's show the support for this guy. Hopefully he heals up fast. And my goodness gracious, this stuff just has to stop. It truly does. And again, you know, the corporate media, this should be on every news this morning, but always hears crickets because it goes against the left's narrative. And they're good at it, folks. I pointed this out time and time again. The Democrats, they're astounding to watch. They truly are. And you have to appreciate what they're able to do in the narrative that they can push out, because they will get behind, and they already are. You see it all on social media and corporate media. They have the backing of the corporate media. They have the backing of these people on social media, and they churn out these falsehoods nonstop. You got to remember, a month ago, Kamala Harris wasn't even qualified to be the VP. Now she is leading the party, right? And I've said this time and time again with the Democrat Party, what they do, they just push out lies. They push out lies. And then the corporate media and social media, they run with the lies. When the lie is found out, they just seamlessly shift the new ones, perpetuating a relentless cycle of misinformation as a never-ending, infuriating loop. It truly is. And that's why I'll do everything in my power to continue to call it out, because I do not care what gender Kamala is. I do not care what race Kamala is. We have to get away from this DEI hot garbage that has basically infiltrated every level of our lives, all the way down to the local level, up high in corporate America, everywhere, right? Hey, how about we get back to the best and the brightest and the most talented gets these positions, instead of focused on, well, we need a female, we need to put her in. Hey, we need a black female, we need to put her in, right? Let's get back to the basics, which made America great, is the best and brightest and most talented at any position. Doesn't mean that you can't work towards that, right? Just because you're not the best and brightest and most talented now, doesn't mean it should just get handed to you because of where you're from or what color your skin is or what kind of vagina that you have, right? It should be the best and brightest. And if you're not there, you got to work harder for it. That's what makes America great. So let's just analyze what our girl Kamala, the puppet, has done, right? Go through some statistics, which I think a lot of people should hear and you should share. That she created a bail fund. Remember this for rioters back in 2020? Remember the rioters, the mostly peaceful protesters that burned cities, all right, to push a political agenda? It's basically domestic terrorism, in my humble opinion. What did she do? She created a bail fund to bail those folks out. She supported 2 propositions in California that exacerbated crime and made it incredibly difficult for law enforcement to stop crime. She was all for defunding the police, all right, as well as no cash bail. This has put the criminals right back out, right? Even against the will of most of the California voters at the time, they did not want this stuff, and she still put Californians in danger. She was tasked with solving the border crisis. She wasn't successful at that. And the border crisis is not that complicated. If I was VP, I would have went down and said, look at all this open space. Well, the wall's half built. Maybe we should just build the wall and put entrances along that wall to allow people to come in here legally and we can vet them. I think that would have been the most common sense, logical solution to that problem. But she didn't do it. She hardly even visited the border, right? She even got called out on her own corporate media. I can share the clip again. It's on all my platforms where they called her out and said, you didn't visit the border. She's like, well, I didn't visit Europe either. What are you trying to imply? We're implying that you're hot garbage as a VP and you're going to be even more hot garbage as the leader of this party now, okay? She's farther left than Joe Biden, which should scare everyone in the middle. Because we all know the 30 to 40% of the crazies out there who are brainwashed that refuse to get off the Democratic nipple, right? They're going to fall right in line. And they vote party, folks. They don't vote for the individual, which is scary. They don't hold their own accountable, but they're going to fall right in line. But I am telling the middle this is vote with some logic and some common sense, because the so-called person who is going to be possibly, it looks like as of right now, the Democratic nominee is farther left. What does that mean? It means that we're on our way to socialism, which the left's like, yay, that's what we want. Yeah, socialism looks great on paper, right? Doesn't even look good on paper, to be honest with you. But to them it does, until you run out of what? Other people's money. Then what happens? Communism takes over. So if that's what you want for your future generations, your kids and your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, then by all means vote for leftist Kamala, okay? Another thing, you Dems, the people in the middle, I said this time and time again, you old school Democrats out there, your party is dead. You're not even old school Democrats anymore. You are moderate Republicans. You just haven't admitted it yet. I'll continue to say that. But if you are in the middle or a moderate Democrat, or a old school Democrat, which is a moderate Republican, then you must understand and realize what your leftist party is supporting. Men competing in women's sports. Oh, who cares about Title IX and all the years and years that women worked to get equality in sports? Out the window. All right? Biological boys using girls' restrooms and locker rooms. That's what they push. They're for sexually explicit books, pornographic books in school libraries. The list goes on and on. I'm just putting out some hot topics that means a lot to a lot of fathers and moms out there and grandpas and grandmas who have granddaughters and daughters. These things matter. They should have a Democrat on Twitter say, the Democratic Party doesn't support that and push that. I'm like, what planet are you on? It's right there in front of your face, folks, but that's what you're supporting. Not only that, but the clown show of the economy right now. People can't even afford to pay their bills. People are going in debt. The IRS, this should scare everyone. And this should be big red flags and Tweety birds going off in your head, is when the IRS is allowing people to put their taxes on credit cards. That's concerning. The crisis is coming. I said it time and time again. Okay? So those are just some of the small things that I just dug up real quick on Kamala Harris. It didn't take me long, right? But right there allows you to know that she is definitely unfit to run this country. No matter how much the corporate media and all the social media influencers who will prop her up and say she's great, and how they're going to prop Biden up and say he was so wonderful, the old man's great, and age wasn't a factor. But now that they have a younger candidate, now age is a factor. You guys notice that? Now they're always concentrated on President Trump's age. It's just insane. But that's what the Democrats do. And you got to appreciate the machine that they built, because they're very effective in brainwashing folks. Okay. So let's move on from the dumpster fire clown show of the Democratic Party and how they just disregarded millions of people's votes for the people that they want, the person that they wanted to represent their party, but they don't care. Democracy is at stake, as they say. Let's go into this guy who 4 months ago predicted President Trump's assassination, and people are watching right now and going, "Oh, everybody knew like they were going to have an attempt on President Trump's life, Garrett." Well, how he predicted it was pretty remarkable. And even I kind of stood back, because a lot of these prophecy stuff, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Anybody can throw something at the wall and hope it sticks. But this guy was pretty accurate 4 months ago in this interview. And after he says what he wants to say, because I don't want to spoil it, I want to talk about what he says about the financial crisis, because I believe that's coming, which, again, I don't think you're a prophet because you're saying the financial crisis is upon us. I think the writing's on the wall. Interest rates, inflation, people can't afford the bills. You know, I mean, it goes on and on. Like the debt that we have, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand and realize that we're going to be in trouble here in the near future. But let's just listen to this guy, because it is pretty remarkable on how spot on he was with the assassination attempt. Granted, this is from 4 months ago. Okay.
Not done with America.
Amen.
He said there's going to be a new wave of patriotism coming out, and that's whenever I saw Trump, and I saw a red wave coming out of Michigan, and then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on they had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up these torches that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation. And it was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame.
I mean, that's pretty gosh darn accurate. When I saw that yesterday, I was like, holy cow, like even the right side, right? Like it wasn't like the left. He picked out the side and how the bullets grazed him. I mean, it was that was pretty remarkable. I'm going to give the guy props for that one, because we all kind of, I mean, you saw the chatter on socials and everywhere else that they're going to try to assassinate him. You know, they try to bring him down. They try to lock him up. You know, they tried to destroy his name. They're going to assassinate him. Like we all heard that chatter. I mean, anyone that was been involved in politics or even watching things kind of considered like, yeah, they're probably going to try that. But how accurate he was pretty remarkable, because usually if you say like an assassination attempt, I mean, are you going to go right over the same ear? So I give him props for that. So I want to move on to what he predicted what's going to happen next, okay, with the financial crisis. So here we go.
Worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then I saw people interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great, the Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting, and then there will be a great economy crash. Yeah. I saw they had a great economy plan, a crash, worse than the Great Depression. And the Lord warned me about this. It would be a great dark time. But I saw paddles coming upon America's soil like a shocking of the soil. And I saw Donald Trump praying in the office of the Oval Office, and he was weeping before the Lord with his hands on his head like this, but he was weeping. And there was ministers and people. I don't know if they were senators or.
So, you know, the economic crisis, which we all talked about. Okay, sure. I can be a prophet too and say that was going to happen because I was calling that out over a year ago. The assassination attempt was pretty spot on. I'm going to give the guy that. However, with him describing President Trump weeping in the Oval Office, I just don't see that happening. I don't. I've met President Trump, talked with President Trump. I don't see he is going to be the type of guy who's going to weep in the Oval Office and have a woe is me moment. I don't see it. Okay. So, yeah, the financial crisis, anyone can predict that's probably coming. I've talked about it for over a year now. President Trump weeping in the Oval Office. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I can't see that happening. However, I'm going to give the guy a little bit of credit for exactly where the bullets went with the possible assassination attempt. So he's batting 500, as we say. He's one for two in my eyes. Okay. Which, hey, if you're batting 500, you're in the Hall of Fame in the major league. So congratulations to that gentleman. And you can find that full interview on YouTube if you just search for it, because it is going viral on all the platforms right now. So, which leads me into this other guy who's going viral on TikTok. I want to make sure I give this guy credit because he did some good work here. Let me find out exactly what his name is. It's called the Faked Podcast, and it's spelled FAKD Podcast. That's the guy on Twitter. So listen in to what he did with AI detection software with the phone call that supposedly Biden called into Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened I think a couple days ago. Listen in.
You guys probably heard yesterday Joe Biden phoning in to a Kamala Harris event. Now, a lot of people are not convinced that that actually was Joe Biden calling and that the entire thing was AI. However, today, what we're going to do is put that audio through a AI voice detection software and see if it's real or not. So let me show you real quick some of the audio from that event, and then I will put it through the test. Let's do it.
The name has changed at the top of the ticket, but the mission hasn't changed at all. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out there in the campaign with her, with Kamala. I'm going to be working like hell, both as a sitting president, getting legislation.
So I think you got a feel of what that actual conversation felt like. So let's take that audio and actually put it through an AI voice detector. Let's go. Okay, guys, this software was about $12.99 a month, but totally well worth it for this little experiment. So I got the clip from the actual thing there, 6 to 7 seconds. Now what I'm doing is uploading it and detecting the voice, and let's see what comes out. So according to this, 96.65% chance that that voice is AI. So this is crazy. The audio that was used in that Kamala speech over the phone is considered by this AI program to be an AI voice, and only a 3% chance of it being a natural voice. Okay, because the TikTok editing video kind of software within the actual app is terrible, I'm going to do a follow-up video to this while putting some other presidential speeches into this that we know are real in order to contrast this AI voice of 96% with that, which we know will be a real speech. So this is very interesting. We'll believe it when we see the contrasting stuff to this. So just comment below what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, that video blew up a lot more than I thought. So I'm going to do this part 2 very quickly, and you will not believe the results. I just ran an actual Joe Biden speech through the AI detector software, and the results are insane. Check it out.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
All right, so I did find this BBC compilation of a bunch of different speeches. Now, I wanted to do it this way because there's like a bunch of different background noises and things going on, voiceovers. So I wanted to make sure that this software can actually detect Joe Biden's voice or just the voice of whoever the actual, thing is about. So that's what I'm going to be running through this little detection software. It's 7 seconds. Check it out. All right, here we have the software one more time. I'm going to choose it. As you can see, it says How U.S. President. That is the MP3 file that I got straight from the BBC News video. And this is the results. So as you can see here, 85% natural voice and 14% AI probability. Based on their model, the audio is highly likely to be real. So this put up against the call that was called into Kamala is a stark difference, especially with this AI model.
So is that real? I don't know. I haven't really went into different AI softwares and what's legit, what's not. It's all kind of new technology anyways, but I thought it was interesting even for him to have the contrast with it. So I'm sure we'll figure that out and it will be all over socials. And I think somebody did just post here, kitty, 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 kitty. We'll give you some time here on our YouTube channel. She's posted, redacted just covered this, sad that's not real accurate at all. So I'm sure there's going to be more people on both sides saying if it was real or it's not, but that is pretty good probability that that phone call might have been AI. Who knows? And that's a scary thing with AI and what they're able to do with it now. And it's just going to get worse. I mean, you can have the video and the people's voices and it looks pretty gosh darn real to me. So brings me to one of the final things I want to talk about today is had the honor, Kevin Rinke called me and asked me to be on his first show of the podcast he's developing. And I talked with him about it and, you know, with the intent of Beyond the Echo, that's what he's calling his podcast, is to get out a lot of truth and have a variety of different people. And what I like about what Kevin is trying to do is going to bring on a variety of different people from both sides of the aisle and have conversation. And I think it's needed now more than ever. That's why I agreed to go on his show. And it was great. It was a 2-hour show. I think he's going to drop that episode here in the next 2 weeks. But it was just a phenomenal conversation that we had about everything in the state of Michigan, what's going on in politics. And it was good. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy his show. So I want to give a shout out to Kevin with his new podcast, Beyond the Echo. It's going to be getting dropped here, and I think in the next couple of weeks. So I'll post some stuff on it because there will be clips of me and him talking that I'm sure he'll share, and I'll share it on my platforms. But he had a lot of really great things to say, and we just had a great conversation about our runs for governor and everything else that's going on in Michigan and America. And just it's funny how the media cycle right during the podcast, you know, the team there says, hey, you know, Cheadle just resigned, and so he decided to like, hey, let's talk about that real quick and we'll put it out. So here's the video of that happening literally right when we got the news that Cheadle resigned from the Secret Service director position. So here we go.
On the one hand, Director Cheadle, good riddance. I don't care if I ever see that woman again. So here we are. And this is how fast things evolve in America and in our world. We're recording our first episode, our first podcast of Beyond the Echo. And we're talking about the intro and the intent of our show and what happens. Yesterday, we had congressional hearings with Cheadle, who was in charge of the U.S. Secret Service. And it was a debacle. It was an embarrassment. It was an insult to the people of America. As she sat there and dodged and danced and didn't answer, at the same time she said, I'm committed, I'm transparent, and I am here to solve the problem.
And I think she just started to solve the problem is a little bit of thing that we call accountability, which we've been wanting this.
Well, I think actually she was afraid of the accountability because you know what she just did? She quit. Now, we're never going to know why she quit. We can say all of the things that I just said were leading up to. But at the end of the day, I think, Garrett, that what she was truly afraid of and what this allows to happen is she was afraid of being held accountable and people really seeing what happens when we have unqualified people in high-ranking positions, and we expect them to run a good business and make great decisions when they don't have the capacity. I thought the story of, or the comment of yesterday that resonated with me the most is go back to protecting Doritos.
Yeah, it goes along to what you said before is having the skill set. We have evolved this conversation, this narrative in our country with this DEI garbage to allow these people to be strategically placed because of their background or color of their skin or anything else or their gender. The best and brightest and most talented with the best skill set should hold these positions.
not only hold the positions, but the people that work under them should be held accountable for their actions in the products that they produce. That's America. That's what works for our country and makes us great. So, on the one hand, Director Cheadle, good riddance. I don't care if I ever see that woman again. She let down the American people. It was insulting to me when she said, well, we'll have a report in 60 to 90 days.
She spit in the face of the American people.
No question whatsoever. She's gone. And that's good. The question is, who's going to replace her? And will the American people get a qualified candidate who's willing to shake the tree, who's willing to be criticized because he wants to implement rules and regulations and accountability that benefit not only the people that the Secret Service is there to protect, but the people of America who are paying for that. So it's part of the process. It's what makes America great. Maybe in a third world country, she would have been assassinated. Who knows? Her Secret Service detail would have failed on her.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Beyond the echo, baby.
Beyond the echo.
It was a great conversation with Kevin. So congratulations for him putting the time and effort, because I think his show is going to be absolutely fantastic. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be dropping his first episode here in the next couple of weeks, but it was an honor to get on the show. It was an honor to sit down and just talk about what's going on and the future of Michigan, the possibilities of what can happen. And it's definitely worth the listen and the watch when he does drop it. So congratulations, Kevin, with your show, and I hope you all the best. That's for sure. But Beyond the Echo, I like the sound of that, right? It's got a good little spin to it. So congratulations to you. Moving on to what's going to happen on Labor Day weekend on August 31st, folks. On Saturday, August 31st, the Grassroots Army Uper Tour is happening. No, we're not touring the entire UP, unfortunately. We only have time for a couple stops. We're going to be stopping up in Iron Mountain, 11 o'clock Central Time as of right now, and I'll be pushing this out. Don't worry on the exact times. It's not finalized, but I'm just giving you a little bit of information just so you can plan if you're in the area. So Iron Mountain will be 11 o'clock Central Time, noon Eastern Standard Time, and then we're heading up to Houghton on Saturday, August 31st, same day, and that one will be from 5 to 7, okay? And the gentleman who I just had on, or he had me on his show, on Beyond the Echo, Kevin Rinke is going to be joining us. And we are trying to get a few other people to join us on this tour to give the Upers the love, because you guys all know how much I love you. So I'm going to do my part and try to get some people up there with us so you guys can ask questions and feel the energy of the movement and the people that are running for office. So Upers, I'm coming to your city. August 31st, Iron Mountain will be the first stop, and then Houghton. All my folks up in Houghton. So looking forward to that, that's for sure. And the last thing we're going to cover today is the grassrootsarmy.com merch store is indefinitely open. We're on demand now. It's been a long time. We've only been able to open this thing quarterly, but now we're going to be open full time. So if you haven't got any merch, there's plenty of time, because we are going to be open indefinitely. And here's some of the lineup that we'll have, and we'll continue to refresh this with new merch that comes out. But we're pretty proud of this lineup that's coming, and just some good stuff that the media team over in AZ Business Solutions is producing right now. It's very, very happy with everything that came out. And for those of you who have ordered your merch from us over the last couple of weeks, it's all out in the mail. It's on its way. Okay. So be proud and know and understand and wear it with pride that you are a part of something bigger than self. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. That's the whole essence of this grassroots army. So until next time, God bless you. God bless the state of Michigan, of course, and always. God bless these United States. See you all soon. Bye-bye.